Hey, welcome to final. Oh shit! Start that over. I almost forgot the name of my own podcast. Like, can you believe it? I can believe it. Welcome to I Was Thinking. I don't even know. Do I need to say welcome to I Was Thinking? This is I Was Thinking, the podcast where I go over thoughts that I was thinking, just because I want to. You know, just because I want to. Uh, Hope everybody's doing all right out there. I was gonna say, I was gonna say final season because that was the first thought for a podcast name, but I've since abandoned that name, and I really like I Was Thinking for a podcast name. It just rings. It just sings off the tongue and it rings in the ears. It rolls off the tongue. I said sings off the tongue. I meant to say it rolls off the tongue, and it sounds so good in the ear. One man, one podcast. I Was Thinking rolls off the tongue. Voice is going out. It's so funny. I can do that voice so well when I'm not recording myself. Like when I tell you how good I can do that voice, like say I'm playing a video game or I'm playing Call of Duty, or anything else like that, or if I'm just like talking just to somebody, I can do that voice so well. As soon as I start recording, I try to make my Batman voice, and I just can't make it. I don't know if it's the earphones and it's like I'm hearing myself and I'm getting psyched out because I'm hearing and I'm trying to get it right, or something else. But whatever it is, I can't do it while recording myself. Now, eventually I will, and you guys will love it. But it's I shouldn't say you love it. You know what? Yeah, you'll love it. But whatever the case may be, I can't get it to do that. Uh, I can't get my voice to do that when I want it to. I'll just randomly break it out and just be like, "I'm Batman." But then as soon as I do it on mic, like my voice will start, breaking and shit like that. But I was gonna say, probably shouldn't cuss at the beginning of YouTube because I just read that whole curse in the first what is it, 30 seconds or a minute, 2 minutes, something like that. You get demonetized. Not that I plan on I'm gonna get monetized the first episode or first few episodes or anything like that or ever. But I'll tell you this though, it kind of sucks to think that like even if you did get monetized sometime in the future, you can't use the episodes that yeah, everybody's ever already covered this, so like who gives a crap? But I'll tell you that if you're thinking about money, maybe don't cuss in the first few minutes, or maybe use Patreon, whatever you want to do. I was walking in the park today, and I was just trying to see, enjoying the nice weather. It was like 76 degrees here. In Ohio, that's like in February, well, March 1st. That's when I'm recording this. In Ohio, that's unheard of. It's usually freezing, wind blowing, chilling weather, and it just makes you just feel horrible because you're just sitting here like, when's it gonna break? Because a lot of times you'll have the sun out, and if it looks wonderful outside. And you're like, oh man, the sun's out, clouds are out. I really, really want to get out there, and then you get out there, and the wind goes down your back and just freezes you. Just goes down your back. Um, yeah, it's not cool, especially because I'm near the Ohio River. Um, it's the coldest because you have the wind chill coming off the river, hitting all of the everybody who's uphill and stuff. I mean downhill still too, but like the wind is just going, following the path of the whatever hill you live on, and it's not comfortable whatsoever. I mean, I feel like you know, it's not as bad as like some regions in America, but like, geez, man, that it's the wind. It's not even the cold. I can deal with cold. I don't like cold, being half Jamaican and all, but uh, I can't stand the cold at all. But I can tolerate a windless cold. No wind, just cold outside, your hands might get a little cold, whatever. But the wind starting to blow down you and your face, your hands, whatever, going through whatever layers of clothes you put on. As soon as your layers of clothes get cold, it's stuck. Like you don't have a situation where it's like, oh, the wind blows, your clothes get cold, and your body warms it up. No, once your clothes are cold, it's a wrap. It's over. You're just cold from now on. Until you get into some warm weather. You're not warming your clothes up. And so, like, once it gets to that point and the wind's blowing through it, just forget about it, man. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it at all. I can take a windless, cold, 20-degree weather, temperature outside, Fahrenheit, of course, uh, being in America and all. But yeah, if you're sitting over there with wind blowing on you, you can't do anything. But yeah, man. So anyway, I was outside, decided to take a drive over to the park with my son and wife, and we were enjoying the weather, 76 degrees, lovely. Um, but it was a situation where we were walking out of the park because we were like, hey, let's get some extra walk in. I mean, the park's not that big. We could have done plenty of stuff in the park or whatever, but the park wasn't quite large enough to be like, hey, let's stay here and walk, endlessly. It we walked the whole park and we were like, hey, let's walk on the street a little bit. It's a very safe neighborhood where we were at. And so we were like, let's walk around the street a little bit, look at the houses and stuff. Who doesn't like looking at houses and just seeing, you know, nice houses and think about, maybe I should buy that. Maybe I'll buy that one day, or maybe I'll get some house ideas or whatever. So we were walking around the neighborhood, whatever, and I saw a Black Lives Matter sign, flag, and I was like, I haven't seen that in a while. I turned to my wife, I'm like, I haven't seen that in a long time. A Black Lives Matter anything, T-shirt, flag, yard sign, any of those things. And so I'm over here thinking to myself or out loud, and I'm, I'm like, who's the first guy in the neighborhood, mind you, or say your block, say your city block, the first guy who decides to take that down? After 2020 happened and 2020, 2021, and everybody's got Black Lives Matter and all this. It depends on your region, of course. You guys are like, don't you live in Ohio? Isn't that like a Republican town or Republican state? And you're like, where do you find a Black Lives Matter sign there? I live in Cincinnati, so it's a little mixed here. You'll have some neighborhoods where you're seeing like you seeing like Trump 2020 or Trump 2024, and then you see some towns, cities, parts, not cities, some neighborhoods where you'll see Black Lives Matter, and it was probably 50-50, I would say. There was a decent amount where you'd see Black Lives Matter. There was a decent amount you see Trump, whatever. I don't get into all that, but anyway, me seeing it, I was just thinking about that era when it was like nothing but just Black Lives Matter signs and stuff, and and I was just thinking about the fact that if you were in a neighborhood and there's nothing but Black Lives Matter symbols and signs, and you were one of them, when do you take it down? You're cutting the grass and you're like, this thing is in the fucking way, and there's a first cuss word, or second, and you're like, uh, I'm getting tired of taking this out every single time I mow the lawn. I want to just get rid of it, but every other neighbor has it. You know what? Same with the Trump 2024 signs or 2020 signs. Yeah, 2020 signs. When do you take that down? Because people had those up in 2021 and 2022, and all your neighbors have it as well. So this extends to more than just Black Lives Matter or Trump. It actually extends to any cause that is like uniformly decided in your neighborhood. So whatever neighborhood you live in, no matter what your choice of cause is, Ukraine, whatever it is, and every neighbor has the same cause marked in their yard. And then you're like, hey, I'm going to be a part of that too, and you buy the same symbol or whatever, and you plant that in your yard, you plant that on the house, and you decide, hey, I really care about this cause, but I'm getting sick and tired of pulling this out of my yard every single time, and I'm getting sick and tired of having to deal with the fact that it's hitting against my, say you got a flag, and the flagpole is like boom 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 bouncing and wobbling or whatever every single time the wind is blowing hard, and you're just getting sick and tired of it whatsoever, and you're like, you know what, I want to get rid of this thing. But every other neighbor has this same thing. What do you do in that instance? Are you that first guy? And then when you're the first guy, you're like, who's gonna notice? Is all my neighbors gonna notice? Do you just say fuck them? I don't really care about my neighbors, or do you say you're like, oh man, I'm gonna get some questions after this. Once I've decided that I'm going to commit to not committing, then I'm gonna look at my neighbors and be like, listen, it was it was good while it lasted. We did it. We did it. Uh, And the worst part of it is when the cause hasn't ended. So, like, say you take down the Ukrainian war flag and the Ukrainian war is still going on. Like, do you gauge social sentiment and say, hey, do you get and just trying to figure out how often is this spoken on Twitter? How often is this spoken on whatever social media you use? Is this still viable? But everybody still has it up, so someone has to take the initiative and say, you know what? Eh, it's over. We did. They know. They know. They understand. Uh, they understand that I care. I don't need to tell you that I care every day, every morning. You know I care. You know I care. I know I care. We did it. We did it. Um, donated $0 except for whatever it costs to buy this. You know, this this representation of my cause, whether it be flag, whether it be sign, whether it be t-shirt, whether it be bumper sticker, whether it be pin on your shirt, whatever it is, mug. Like, how often do how long do you keep it? And so then you've got the first guy who takes it down, and he's like, I don't care what nobody thinks. I don't care about my neighbors. Whatever. They can think what they want of me, but I'm done with this. I'm getting sick of it. And then what happens to the next guy? He's like, Bill takes it down, and then you have Steve, and he's like, he talks to his wife. He's like, Sarah, do you notice that Bill took his sign down? You think we could do it too? You think we could you think it's about time for us to take our sign down too? You think we could do that? So yeah, I think that's I think that's pretty funny. I just think it's funny to think of the first person who decides to make the initiative, and then the second guy who says, you know what, I've been wanting to take my sign down. It's just like, that's pretty funny because it's a choice in your life that doesn't all mean all that much, but it feels like it does. It feels like you're betraying, or you're going switching sides, or you're like, I've given up. But it's like, in actuality, you're just like, am I supposed to keep this up till 2030, 2050? Like, how long am I supposed to keep it up? Because there's not a time where you feel like Black lives don't matter, but you'll be like, hey, how long do I need to tell people that I believe that? Or whatever cause it is. It's like, hey, I care about whatever, and you want Trump to win or whatever it is, and you're just like, how long do I show this? Yeah, I spent way too long on that, but whatever. Um, I was just recently watching some cartoons, and I was thinking back on the days when I used to. I mean, I still kind of do watch more cartoons than live action shows. So I was thinking back to the days when I would watch cartoons like almost endlessly as an adult. Because I really, really enjoy watching cartoons, especially ones nostalgia cartoons, ones back in from my childhood. I like new cartoons too. Uh, all types of, whatever, SpongeBob, I like the new ones, Teen Titans Go. I know that's not new, but whatever. Like, adult cartoons too. Rick and Morty. It's a fan favorite. Venture Brothers came out way back. Back when I probably couldn't really understand what was going on completely. I mean, I understood, but it's like a lot of adult innuendos that you don't get as a kid or even a teenager or whatever. You still won't understand it completely. And then you go back and watching as an adult, and you're like, oh my god, that was it. That was what they were saying. That's what they were inferring or implying, and it's like that's really really cool. So. Um, I was just thinking about it and I was like, man, I feel like I'm a kid. Like I feel like immature. I feel immature. I feel like I'm just watching this and I'm like the only one that watches cartoons and I'm just childish and I'll never grow up or whatever. And it's like I'm trying to rekindle my childhood, and try to, be a kid forever or whatever, and it makes me immature. But I I realized that um I realized that I felt that way until I understood, you know, and this is probably good on like social media and stuff like that. There are millions of adults that watch cartoons, obviously because they're on, right? And then you go and look, and you think that like a lot of the little kid or not little, a lot of the little kids are watching the cartoons now, and they're making up the majority of the views. But that's not actually the case. Actually, the case is the adults, first of all, pick the cartoon because they have to be the ones that put it on for their kid. And I mean, you might be a parent who just says, hey, whatever, throw whatever on for Timmy, and Timmy watches it, and you don't care what's on Cartoon Network, or you don't care what's on Nickelodeon, or you don't care what's on Disney. But a lot of times you're choosing that for them. You're choosing which channel to watch and what cartoons they can or can't watch or whatever. Or you might have some that you don't like, you might have some that you do like, or you may have some that are tolerable to you in the background. And you have some that are intolerable, and so. You're essentially you're deciding which cartoons do you like. That's what you're doing. You're saying which one do I like? My child's gonna like too. So really, that's one case of it, and then another case of it is also that you might actually watch the cartoon yourself. You probably watch the cartoon yourself. You probably enjoy that cartoon, and you probably look forward to the new episodes of it. So, and you rewatch episodes too, and you enjoy that too. So, um, not only that, you pick cartoons for yourself to watch as well, even when they're asleep or whatever, or even if you're single, or even if you're not single and don't have kids, whatever the case may be, I guarantee a huge percentage of the population is watching cartoons. It's not just kids. It's not just kids. It's a huge percentage, and I've seen lots of nostalgia memes or people talking on social media where they're just like, hey, remember this scene or remember this episode or whatever, or I can't believe that they allowed this in this Cartoon Network show or whatever, that type of stuff. You realize it's like, oh, you had to have rewatched it to understand that that was a thing that we shouldn't have been really exposed to as a kid. I don't want to say really not exposed to, but it just feels like you shouldn't be exposed to it. You didn't understand as a kid. It obviously didn't affect your life in a negative way or whatever. Obviously, you didn't understand it, so how can it affect you in a way that would be an adversity to your growth and development if you're sitting over here and saying, I didn't even realize that as a kid. How can you be affected by something you don't understand? So yeah, it's like you're watching something, you're saying it's nostalgic, you're noticing things about it as an adult, and it's like, it makes me feel better because I'm like, oh, all those hours and hours and hours of me not saying I don't really want to watch a real person show because I don't really want to get into the storyline. I don't want to have to a situation where, oh, I miss episode and I don't know what the hell's going on and blah 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 blah. And you're just like, hey, what do I what do I what do I do about um finding the episode that I missed because I fell asleep? You watch a cartoon, who cares? Okay, you missed 3 episodes. You missed 5 episodes. You missed 10 episodes. You were asleep. You went to sleep. You slept for 8 hours. Episodes are depending on the show. They could be 30 minutes. They could be 15 minutes. Whatever it is. So if you say, let's say, Cartoon Network block is like 30 minutes, so but no commercials on most streaming apps, so 23 minutes. Uh, it's somewhere around the range of 16 episodes that will slide by while you're asleep for like 7.5 hours, maybe eight, and oh well, who cares? I'll turn it back. I'll just press continue watching. I'm not gonna go back and be like, dang, I fell asleep on my favorite show. Or maybe cartoon's your favorite show, and you still do that. But also, almost who cares? It half the time it's probably a cartoon you've watched 50 times. So, yeah, no, that's pretty cool to me to even think that way. Um, but yeah, man, listen, I am not a Coca-Cola drinker at all. I don't drink Coca-Cola. I didn't grow up drinking Coca-Cola. I don't really drink Coca-Cola. But at my job, we have Coca-Cola galore. I mean, we have more Coca-Cola than any other pop. We have one of those, we have like a refrigerator and we have like, convenient snacks or whatever, and on the shelf, and like we used to have, A&W root beer and Sprite and all this other. I know people think Sprite's like a really boring drink a lot of times, but unless you get McDonald's Sprite, which burns a hole in your throat in a good way. But but yeah, I never really was a Coca-Cola drinker. I wasn't really a huge cola drinker whatsoever. I was really a root beer guy, root beer boy, root beer teen. And so, like, as an adult, with it only being Coke there, I didn't really want to get into it for real. But it was the only thing there. You fall into that thing where it's like, I don't want water. I already drink my water. I usually typically try to drink like a liter and a half of water. Um, each day, and then you drink it. You drink your coffee. It's past lunchtime. You've had your lunch, or maybe it's lunchtime and you've had your water, you had your coffee, whatever, and you want something sweet. We do have orange juice, but I don't. Eventually you kind of want something else, and so I tried some. I started drinking Coca Cola just at work only, and so I would drink it there, here and there, and I would drink. At first it was like begrudgingly. It was like, oh, well, it's something that's sweet and carbo. Yeah, I was about to say carbohydrate, carbonated, something carbonated, and you're like, oh, this is all right. This is all right. It's tolerable. Eventually, I started drinking it more and more, just at work only. But like it went from like once a week to maybe 3 times a week max. And one day I was eating some candy, or maybe it was a pastry. I think it was a pastry, and I was eating a pastry, and it was like extremely sweet, like caramel and chocolate and all this other type of stuff. And it was like probably sprinkles or whatever. Not that combination, but whatever it was. I can't even recall what it was at this moment, but it was like extremely sweet, like drowning sweet, like something so sweet it would have like the mount, like if it was something else like a A&W or a Sprite, you would really not be tasting the sweetness all that much. You would mainly just be tasting just the just kind of like the flavor and the carbonation, but not like in a strong. The flavor wouldn't be coming out very strong because you already just had something extremely sweet. So, um, you know, I don't typically drink pop after eating sweets just because of that. But I had drank the Coca Cola because I had it there, and somebody had a pastry, and so I was like, I'll take a pastry or whatever. I ate the pastry, I drank the Coca Cola, and the flavors were so sharp and crisp. It was as if I did not just eat something extremely sweet, and I was over here like, whoa, like it was almost life changing. Like it was one of those situations where it's like you didn't think that this existed, that you had taste buds that was not associated with the cake that you just ate, but they're associated with the Coca Cola somehow. So I'm drinking it and I'm like, whoa, why does this taste like I just came from eating like chips or something salty? Like, and then it dawned on me. That's what it is about Coca-Cola. That's why they run the world. That's why they're in literally every country. That's why people are hooked on it. And you just see they're the number one carbonated drink. Why? Because they're flavor scientists and chemists. They've created a product such that you can taste it no matter what you eat or drink before it. Now that's powerful right there. If you really think about ruling the world and how you control people's minds and control people's consumptions of a thing, you want to make it so that no matter what else they consume around it, you always come out different from everyone else. So like you can consume whatever you want, but this thing is still going to be a thing that's going to hit you a way that the other things don't hit you. So it's like, yeah, you may crave a donut. Yeah, you may crave some candy, a Twizzler, a lollipop, not lollipop, but a Jolly Rancher, and then you eat that, and you're like, man, that was super sweet. I probably should have some water, or maybe drink nothing at all. But then when you hit the Coca-Cola and it hits those flavors that those things didn't hit, you can have your cake and eat it too, kinda. You know, that's insane. I mean, I want to create a product that does that. I want to create a product that controls people's minds and makes you warp your reality into a point where you think that, hey, I can have this no matter what setting I'm in. I can mix it with my alcohol. I can mix it with, you know, whatever the fuck. I don't know. But yeah, it's like that's kind of scary. It's scary because um they have they have found a way to trick the brain into artificial and natural ingredients, mixing them together in such a way that it hits your it hits fine tunes and hits portions of your receptors that nothing else does, like an opiate. You know what I mean? They made an opiate version of something that's not an opiate, or a non-opiate version of something that's an opiate. Yeah, a non-opiate version of something, because it used to be Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in it. So now you're looking at a situation where you're like, hey, this is almost like an opiate because it hits those. I'm not addicted to opiates, but it hits something inside of me and makes my mood boost without a drug, but it's kind of like a drug because if you become addicted to it, it's drug like, it's drug ish. That's kind of just like rule the world stuff right there. That's the stuff that no one really talks about how much Coca Cola controls. They talk about like how much water it uses or whatever, but they don't really talk about how like it really just and I mean we've had like documentaries on it and stuff like that, Super Size Me, whatever, where it talks about like how these food companies can control what you eat and consume due to they figure out the receptors in your brain and this that, and the other or whatever. But I think Coca-Cola has everyone else beat. Like even McDonald's, like I think they even have McDonald's beat because just the sole fact that they have one product and everybody eats the same thing. Even McDonald's has to like change and alter their recipe here and there, just to satisfy the market that they're in. But Coca-Cola, every single time they come out to a new culture or a new country, all they do is they rebrand it, and it's the same formula with the same product, and it hooks you. It hooked Mexico. It's hooking all Tokyo, Japan. It hooks people around the world, and that's just wow. That's insane, man. It's kind of crazy that that's a thing, and also um, I respect it. I respect something that can control you so much like that without it being considered a registered drug. That's kind of just wild, man. Kudos to you, Coca-Cola. Good job. There's gonna be a small like jump in the video because it's gonna be like it's gonna look like I paused and then pressed play, and that's only just because I did. Why? Because I have a video camera that only records 30 minutes at a time. And so you have to pause for breaks. And that'll be my ad break right there. And that's what I'll probably do. I'll put an ad there. I'll be like what's it called? Like a transmission, when it like stay tuned for this transmission. I'll put like one of those in there where it's like dun 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 dun, dun and then like and then I'll come back in. But yeah, what I want to talk about something else. Oh shoot. Okay, so we recently have a new employee at our building, and we recently have a new employee at our company, and uh, so he didn't know my. And this is like all employees. Okay, this is not. I'm not picking on him specifically. I'm just saying this is all employees. But his action made me realize something. So he didn't know um, you know, my name. He didn't know my full name because I go by like a shortened version of my name at home at work. So he didn't know my full name, and when he uh, when we met or whatever, I told him my full name, and I told him what some people call me at work, and I said whatever's easier for you, whatever. My name's long and complicated. So what I told him, I said I said call me whatever you feel comfortable with. Um, but I introduced him with my actual name, whatever, like I always do. So, with it being long and complicated, he probably, I know he forgot what I said, like most people do. Me, I don't know if most people. I don't know if it's most people. I forget most people's names within 30 seconds of meeting them. I don't care what your name is. It could be the simplest name, like John, and shake your hand. I'm like, "What's up, John?" And then it's like, "Damn, what the fuck did he say his name was?" And so like that's literally how quick I forget names. And I will even like I had looked this up and I thought something was wrong with me because I couldn't never remember anybody's names. And I looked it up and apparently there's a thing that is actual some actual like uh not ailment, but it's a disorder. I don't know, not disorder. It's a mental thing. It's a mental fat poo where in your mind, or in my mind, or in lots of people's minds, you will hear someone say their name, but you're so focused on their words and everything that they're saying and everything that's going around and making sure that you're not focused on them. Sorry, it's the other way. You're focused on you. You're focused on the way that you're reacting and the things that you're saying to them and not messing up on your words and understanding what they're saying so you can respond in a correct fashion and not sounding like you're speaking gibberish or saying something that doesn't make any sense. And you're so focused on that first initial reaction with that person that uh you're hearing what they're saying so that you can respond to them, but you're not committing it to your long-term memory. You're committing it to your short-term memory, but it's like the shortest of your short-term memory. So like literally it's like if someone's telling you a story and then you can't remember what the story is right afterwards, it's because you were focusing on what to say, what you're going to say back to them. And it's not that you weren't paying attention to what they're saying, it's just that you didn't want to sound like you didn't understand. You didn't want to sound unknowledgeable on the topic. So what happens is you focus so solely on uh, whatever. I explained it enough. So I hear what he So I hear what he says his name is. This time I remembered whatever, and then that's because I had heard his name multiple times before the meeting, and then he heard my name, and then he's like, "Okay, nice to meet you." Da, da, da. And then next thing you know, a couple hours later, we're in a meeting, or maybe it was the next day. We're in a meeting, and he pronounced my name the way it looks like on paper, the way it looks like on my email, the way it looks spelled. So he phonetically tried to word it out or pronounce it. And so that was extremely interesting to me because that has happened to me tens of times. Tens of times. I don't want to say it was 100 times, but it's been tens of times that I've met someone and then they see me later at a different time and they say my name differently than I introduced myself. They say my name completely like the way that they think that it's said phonetically written down. And I realized that they too have forgotten what I said to them when we introduced each other. So that means that it wasn't just me forgetting their name, but they also forgot my name and they had to read it. And if I had to read their name and it's pronounced, a typical name, my name's atypical. So if you had a typical name and I could just read it and it says John, then hey, I can say, hey John. But you would have to read my name, read it phonetically, try to sound it out. And when it comes out, I'm hearing it and I'm saying, ah. And I just realized this. I just realized this. This is like an epiphany and I was trying to figure out why does everybody always say my name that way, even when they've never heard it said that way before. And that's the reason. It's because they're reading it and they say it absolutely incorrectly, which is completely fine. I have no issue. I have no quarrels with you. I have no quarrels with you, my dear lady, milady, madam. But it's just really interesting because that means that they have the same issue as me, and I was stressing and having a internal, um, you know, what's the word? Like a conflict, an internal conflict. I know there's a better word for than conflict for that. But I was having an internal fight about me forgetting people's names, and then I realized that, and it's like, oh, well, this whole time, it's those types of things that you don't realize that other people go through, and you think it's just a you problem, and really it's not just a you problem. Really, it's a human problem, and you don't know that it's a human problem until you get to a point in your life where you can understand some human problems and not have like selfish, and it's not really selfish, but you're kind of like, it's like a selfish thing where you think that only you have this problem, only you have anxiety, only you have depression, only you have issues of the like. But it's like, if you have it, chances are millions of other people have it, millions of other people have it. Like, so that's really just interesting to me that I realized that that was the reason why that was happening to me, because uh, the same reason why I can't remember other people's names is the same reason why they mispronounce my name on the second time them meeting me, because they read it. It's kind of cool. Like, I find things like that fascinating because you learning about other people's minds and you understand that they're thinking similarly to you. There's, of course, there's lots of people who don't think similar to you, but there's a lot of people who do think similar to you, and there's a lot of human interactions and human experiences that are shared, and no one speaks about them. They're the quiet parts, and when that happens, it makes it so that your confidence level can go up, or your understanding can go up, and you can navigate life differently. Why? Because you understand that you shouldn't be fixated on things that you're doing as much, because they're fixated on themselves as well. So with you both being fixated on your, so it's the same example of, say you're in a conversation, you fuck up completely something, like you mix your words, fumble them, you stutter, whatever. Tell me how often you remember the next person who does that, the person that you were talking to. How often do you remember when they messed up words? You just excuse it. There's something in your mind that excuses their misbehavior. There's something in your mind that excuses their accidents. There's something in your mind that excuses their mistakes, and when they mispronounce something, or when they do, whatever they do, you don't remember that after talking to them. You just remember you kind of remember their essence. You remember their personality, but you don't really remember every little tick or quarrel about them. Maybe you remember certain things, certain ticks, and certain quarrels about them, and it may be the more louder parts of it. So, say someone stutters throughout the entire conversation, you will remember them as being a stutterer because every single time they spoke, they stuttered. But what about when they stuttered once or twice during a conversation? You're not going to remember it. Same with them. They're not remembering every single thing. They're not looking at, when you crossed your legs, or how you were standing, or what pose you were in, and you felt very awkward. You didn't know how to hold your hands. Where do I put my hands? Do I put them in my pocket? Where do I put my feet? Was I tilted wrong way? Like, oh man, how did my hair look? All that type of stuff. They're not thinking about that type of stuff. They're in their own world, and you're just a minor part. You're a character in their day, and because of that, you're not going to be found, that you're not that important. You're not that important to anybody. other than a family member. And if you're that important to a like with a family member, you being that important, they're going to excuse that behavior because they love you. But if you're just some or a friend because they love you, or they really enjoy your company or whatever. But if it's just a regular person, just that you interact with, maybe even daily or weekly, they're not going to remember that type of stuff because you're a character in their play. You're an extra. You're an extra. You're just there for now. You won't be there in 10 years, probably. You won't be there for their important times in their lives, probably. You won't be there for their wedding. You won't be there for their birthdays. You won't be there for their anniversaries. You won't be there for their vacations. Why do they care? They don't care that you accidentally stumbled on words or that you scratched your ass in the middle of a meeting. They don't care. They don't care. Why? Why should they care? They might remember that you scratched your ass, though. They might remember that. They might remember that you blew ass in the middle of a meeting. Maybe they remember that, but they won't remember the small things. Don't worry about it. Let it blow over. They're not going to remember tomorrow. They're not going to remember probably even in an hour. And even if you did blow ass, guess what's going to happen next week? You think they're going to be thinking about the fact that you blew ass last week? They had a whole weekend without you. Oh man. But that's just crazy. I I was a truck driver for like 4 years, and um I used to when I was first training to become a truck driver, I was over the road, and my trainer we were obviously were over the road together, and so we were driving for like about a month together for training, and for during that training time, he would wait. There was maybe two times or three times we woke up and he went to go pee, and I didn't go pee. I was just waiting for him or whatever, and then we would get ready, get started for work and stuff, delivering the load or whatever. And one day he went to go pee, and he was like, "Oh, let's stop, let's pee, and then we'll take off." And I was like, "I don't really have to pee or whatever." And he was like, you don't have to pee in the morning." And I was like, "Nah, not really." He's like, "That's strange." Um, I think a lot of people have to pee in the morning. A lot of people have to pee in the morning. A lot of people wake up and have to pee. I've never had that ever. Unless I drink a shit ton of water at night, I don't have to pee in the morning. Like just it's not a it's never happens to me unless I drink a lot of whatever at night. And even sometimes when I drink a lot, I still don't have to pee in the morning. Like I'll have to pee later in the morning. And when I say in the morning, I mean first thing in the morning. Like I mean you wake up, you have to hit the toilet. I don't wake up and have to shit. I don't wake up and have to do any bodily functions except for yawn, stretch, brush my teeth, and that's routine stuff. But I don't have to do like all that type of stuff. Not really. I fart, yeah, but like that's really interesting though because I wonder how many other people don't have to pee in the morning because I feel like I'm some type of freak of nature because of that. Right? Oh, you don't ever have to pee? What? In the morning? But yeah, it's just it makes you feel kind of weird. And this might be going back to what I was just saying, where it's like the human thing, where it's like maybe millions and millions of people also don't have to pee first thing in the morning. But yeah, me, I'm like 10 o'clock or something like that. Hours after I've been awake, I have to pee or whatever. After I've started to drink my coffee or this, that, and the other, or whatever, or water on days I don't have coffee. And it's just really interesting because I'm like maybe something's wrong with me. Maybe I'm an alien. No, but yeah, it's just it's kind of crazy. Um, Maybe many of you don't have to pee in the morning, and hey, we're just the no pee gang. No first thing in the morning pee gang. We're the later portion of the day pee gang, and that's okay, and I'm cool with that. But it's interesting. A lot of people have to do that, but but yeah, I was gonna say what was my next topic? Oh yeah, this one about gambling. Uh, about gambling. I need to stop saying But anyway, there it goes again. Don't do it. Don't do it, lady. But there you have it. There you have it. I'm crazy. I'm insane. Sometimes I feel like I'm insane, and that's fine. And that's fine. But anyway, I was thinking the other day. So my wife asked me. She's like, you should uh bet on something. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like some sports or whatever. And you guys have this like Fansly and all these other types of things. What was it? Fans, dual fans, or whatever. Something. Fans betting, sports betting. Sports betting has become legal in Ohio as of late, in the last couple of months or whatever. And so because it's legal, we've had a crap ton of gambling companies start advertising in Ohio. Okay. Um, I'm back. So what was I saying? What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So the gambling. Um, sorry, I had to take a break. I had to pee. But yeah, so so all the gambling apps they started coming to Ohio, advertising, hey, um, he borrow money from us. Okay, no, this is what they're exactly saying. They're coming in and they're saying, hey, if you bet $10, we will give you what is it? It's we'll give you 100. If you bet 10, we give you 100. You bet, 20, we give you 200, whatever, something like that. So I think it's 200. It's either 100 or $200. They give you like a multiple of whatever your whatever however much money you are planning on betting. So you bet a small amount, you get a large amount. It's all a con. It's what it really boils down to being is just them wanting you to become addicted. So like yes, it's free money. Yes, you gamble with them. The first time you gamble, I think you can pull it out whatever your winnings are. I don't know I don't know the entire terms of it. Like if you bet, say you betted $10 and they gave you 100, and then you bet with that 100 and you broke even, do you get to pull the money out because you didn't actually win anything, but you just took their money or whatever anyway? I don't know how exactly it works, but all I know is that they just started popping up with all these different free money gambling situations because they want you to get hooked on first of all gambling, and then second of all they want you to try their platform over another platform because there's like 5 different platforms you can try in Ohio alone currently. I'm sure there's more, but there's like 3 big ones, and then there's like 2 other ones that are like, yeah, kind of known, but mostly just because you see ads of them. But the big ones, like, they're ones that are well known throughout America, and they've been around for years and years and years. So my wife was like, she was like, you should apply. Oh, you should apply. You should try to guess the numbers on something or whatever, because her sister did it and she ended up making some money or whatever. And I told her, I said, hey, I'm not that type of lucky. I'm not that type of lucky. I don't have the type of luck where where I gamble and I get money, or where you place a bet and you make good on that bet by winning, winner winner. No, I don't. I don't win that way. I never have. I've never been that type of lucky. I guess shit all the time and I never fucking get it. I I'll think, I bet you're going to, I bet this or I bet that. Like, I've just never been that type of lucky. I never win stuff. Oh, raffles, never won a raffle ever in my life. And you might think that maybe most people haven't or whatever, but it's like I've been at raffles where not that many people have been on the raffle uh, ticket choices or whatever. And then like I didn't get picked. There's been situations where it's like, there's an award and it's like at random. Don't get picked for those. I don't get picked for, uh, like say it's like multiple people got an A in the class, and they're like, okay, of the people who got A, one will be chosen at random to receive blah blah blah, a goodie bag. I'm not a goodie bag winner neither. I'm not any of those things that you get for free for just doing nothing but being lucky. Never do I get those things. Never have I got those things. Never will I get those things. I just don't get them. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just a thing that I've grown to understand, that I don't get to guess a number between 1 through 10 and I pick the correct number. It'll never happen. But you know what I am lucky at? Life stuff. I'm lucky at choosing the right direction and right path to go down in life. A, to not get killed. B, to not go bankrupt and broke, not get robbed, those types of things. I'm really good at those things. Good decisions on career paths, good decisions on that type of stuff. I'm good at that. I'm good at telling other people things that I know is the right thing for them to do, and it might not be my situation, but I can kind of gauge the correct direction to go down. You know, sometimes you might have that friend that'll tell you advice, and then you follow the advice and you get screwed. I mean, you end up hanging on, you end up on the top of a totem pole, with your pants down, inserted into. So I'm some people have that type of bad luck where they make shit decisions in life. Uh they'll sign up to some type of they'll sign up to some type of school or trade program, and then the trade program shuts down like in the middle, or halfway through, or towards the end, or they might complete it and they find out you know, their credentials don't actually add up or whatever, something like that. A lot of people make those type of decisions, and it's like, oh man, that wasn't good. Because life is a gamble, no matter how you look at it. Every single decision you make in life is a gamble. You decide to cross that street, that was a gamble. You decide to take your car out for a drive today, that was a gamble. You decide to stay in the house, that was a gamble. Hey, a tree could fall inside the house, that's a gamble, man. Uh, you decide to take a vacation at a certain time in a certain place at a certain day, and your flight was canceled. That was a gamble. You gambled on that day. The next day you probably would have been fine. The day before that you would have been fine. The week after, fine. But you chose the March 11th and the flight was canceled. So those are types of things that, I'm lucky on. Um, whereas, numbers, not so lucky on them. I have to actually, you know, I have to actually calculate every decision I make for the win for me to actually win. I don't just get handouts or accidental oopsies. Um, yeah, so I think, oh, at one time in my life I can recall that I actually got an accidental oopsie. It was when I went to truck driving school and I wanted to apply, and I wholeheartedly figured I'd have to pay or whatever, they would do, put me in a payment plan or whatever. So I went to truck driving school. I just literally went up there to sign up. Didn't know anything about different schools or whatever. I just had found out about this school, truck driving school that did CDLAs. I went up there randomly on a whim, and not even a whim. I had been planning on it doing another. I still planned on this thing, but the way it happened. So I planned on it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I went up there with and they were like, are you here with Super Jobs by chance? And I was like, yeah. Light my ass off, wasn't with Super Jobs whatsoever. And she was like, "Oh, okay, cool, cool. Um, do you have your documentation for Super Jobs?" And I was like, "Oh no, they didn't tell me anything about it. About needing documentation." She was like, "Well, it's a free ride if you just come back with the documentation. You just go down there and you fill out the application. You have to fill out the application for our school specifically, and then you bring the paperwork back here, and they'll pay for they give you a scholarship for going to truck driving school." I was like, "Huh?" In my mind, and I was like, "Thank you very much." Out loud. I'll be right back with that documentation. I didn't realize I had to have that. Went down there, talked to Super Job. Super Job's like, yeah, you just fill out this, whatever, da, da, da. The city pays for it. Filled it out, took it back to the school. Bada bing, bada boom. Your boy's a truck driver. Your boy got a CDLA driver's license after a 6-week program. So yeah, I did that. That was the only time in my life I can even recall or even begin recalling where I literally had got lucky and didn't have to pay anything. It was free because I lied. But that's literally the only situation or scenario. But every single thing else, like I said, uh, you know, most people lose in the lottery. So I don't want to really include the lottery in that thing. So like the lottery, I don't really want to say, okay, I'm unlucky in the lottery because what does that even mean? Most people don't win in it. The lottery is made for the city to make the money, or the state to make the money, or the government to make the money, and then allocate a portion of it to one person because it's a portion because the Uncle Sam's gonna get his piece, and the state's gonna get their piece. But it's a portion because all of those fees and stuff that you got, and they get to gamble with your money or with all of the people's money who's in the pool who's been feeding this pool, this potluck, and the lottery pot, and all the people who's been feeding into that pot, the city gets to just use it as they will. They don't have to have it stashed anywhere. They can pull from it whatever they want to. Just build a this, build a that, however you want to do it, and then however they want to do it, because we have no say in it really. And they allocate their funds however they want to, and then eventually, will it take months? Will it take years before eventually somebody guesses the right numbers, and then they have to pay that person out. Um, cool. Uh, but the majority of people are losers, right? Like most people don't win. I don't even win scratch offs for God's sake. Like I've literally one time won the exact amount of money that I spent on the scratch out one time, and I've bought probably somewhere between like 15 scratch offs or 10 to 15 scratch offs I've bought maximum throughout my entire life. Like this is not like, oh, I'm over here just going like no, no, no. This I'm talking about. I've bought two here, three there. One time I bought a $50 one, lost it. Uh, One time I bought a $20 one, lost it. Like I literally don't have no luck with those things. $0 back. You know what I mean? $0 back. And then when it comes to, you know, well, you get it. Just basically, since I don't win anything that way, she had suggested I did that, and I was like, "There's no way." I know my luck. I understand my luck. Me and the universe has an understanding, right? I understand the universe as the universe understands I. And guess what? We have an understanding that I don't win accidentally. I win only purposefully, only with decisions I make that has to do with life, not gambles, not accidental whims or whatever. But yeah, so that's uh that's my 2 cents on that. I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably maybe feel the same way. There's probably someone who's lucky next to you who seems to always get the this and always to get the that, and you see they don't even try. They just guess and they're always right about this and the other. Like literally, I would guess on a sports team winning, and in the overtime they would lose. Like I mean, that's what type of or very beginning of they get 0 points the entire game. Like that's the type of luck I get. Even though that team has been winning persistently, and then the one time I decided to bet, the one time like it's not like that everybody it's not that the situation where it's like, okay, they lost this time, that was unexpected or whatever. And there's been people betting on that team every single time that they play. No, no, no. My thing is like, I will bet the one time that they lose. I will happen to have put a bet in the one time that they lose, whereas persons around me would bet randomly throughout the season and then they would win. And I'm not talking about Super Bowl. I'm just talking about just regular season. People around me bet they win nice sums of money because they happen to bet on January the 3rd that this team would have won that match or that game just based off of the fact that they decided to bet that day. And me, I'll bet, January 11th, and I come back with less money than I had before I bet it. So I don't bet. I don't bet at all. I don't do any of that stuff. I'd rather just leave it up to my sound decisions that I make throughout life. And guess what? That's you know, I'm not saying that every decision I make in life is right. I would never imply that, but I'm just saying that my odds for winning versus losing when it comes to that, it's just usually much better when I make a conscious decision to do something physical, you know, like, oh, maybe I'll make a lot of money if I go and cut this grass or whatever, you know. Make a lot of money doing that, or you just happen to meet somebody who gives you a fat tip when you do that. Back when I used to cut grass and stuff, like, I'll happen upon somebody who is like just old and just oh yeah, I'll give you a double or whatever, that type of stuff. I have that type of luck, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. You should be okay with that. You should be okay with whatever level of luck you have. Not everybody hits every level of luck. You know what I mean? Some people they have that dumb luck where it's like they don't really do very well in life, but they always seem to make it by because they randomly pass by some good stroke of luck or whatever. And you also have people who have the opposite, where they almost spit almost went down the wrong tube into the breathing hole instead of the drinking hole. But yeah, sometimes you'll have a situation where you have a guy who just has the worst luck and he never wins in anything. And he not gambling, and also with the numbers and stuff, or lottery tickets. I'm without lottery tickets, or what was I saying? What was the other one? Um, Raffle tickets or life stuff. You picked the wrong job and got screwed over. That type of stuff that can happen as well, where you think you picked the right decision in life, and you just keep getting screwed every which way. You bought a house in a horrible location. That type of stuff. I would rather have the luck where I buy the house in the right place than the guy who wins the tickets and then buys a house in the wrong place, and then a tornado comes and wipes it out, or it's built on a shitty foundation, and it's going to cost $100,000 or $50,000 to get it fixed or whatever. I'd rather have the guy who happens upon buying, or made a active decision to buy a house, and it was an excellent decision. Call me an idiot, but I'd rather have that one. Well, I think it's about time for me to wrap it up. I really appreciate you guys for being here and with me and listening, and just vibing out. It feels really good to just talk about things that matter to me, and just have a good time doing it. I really enjoy this. I really like my setup here. I'm planning on getting like a flag or something that goes behind me. I'm half Jamaican, half American, so I was thinking about getting a little mashup. I've got things. I have ideas and stuff, and I kind of really want to make it look kind of cool. So, yeah, no, this has been really awesome, and yeah, yeah, man. I don't. How do you end these things? Like, you just say signing off. Some people be like, "Hey, like and subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you get notifications every time I drop a new video." Some people do that. Me, I just say, do what you want, man. I say, live your life. If you like it, do what you want to do. Use YouTube the way YouTube works. If you don't like it, you use YouTube the way YouTube works. That's what I'm good. That's my motto for YouTube. It's gonna be use YouTube the way YouTube works. And that sounds like a tongue twister because I can't speak. But it's actually not that hard to say. So let's try it again, okay? Use YouTube the way YouTube works. That's my motto. Use YouTube the way YouTube works. If you like the video, use YouTube the way YouTube works. If you hate the video, use YouTube the way YouTube works. In fact, if you don't like the video, go to your watch history and delete it off your watch history. That way, YouTube knows that you really didn't like it. Like, don't even just stop at the dislike button. Like, literally just erase it so that you can't even find it once you like. Once it's gone, it's gone. Like, you won't even remember the name of the podcast, as I was thinking. But yeah, but if you like the video, sign in, like it, subscribe to it, and then go to your alternate account and like it and subscribe to it. You know what we doing over here? We're farming. We're video farming over here. You know, you guys are video farming for me. You're going to create 5 YouTube accounts and subscribe and like to all 3 of them to my channel, because that's how much you love just, you know, the vibe here, the way I talk. You love the way I talk because the way I talk is fantastic. And if you like that, hey man, it is what it is. But yeah, so I'll be dropping more of these. Try to be more regular. You know, this is like I've been testing it out and seeing what I like about it and what I dislike about it, and I think I'm really vibing with the way I keep saying vibing. I'm really I'm enthusiastic about it. Feel good, man. All right, you guys. Catch you on the next one. Follow me.